Horses in Red Dead Online are just as important as cars are in GTA Online, and whether you're hunting bounties, resupplying your trader role, or just running around the map looking for collectibles, your horse is the single most important item that you own, and you should always select the best horse that you can afford, as you're going to use it for 90% of the activities that you complete in Red Dead Online. The best horses in the game tend to have loads of stamina and health, along with a nice balance of speed as well as acceleration to keep you out of harm's way and move you around the map faster. In today's video, I'm going to rank all 5 roll horse breeds that you can purchase in Red Dead Online based on 4 key stats: stamina, health, acceleration, and top speed. By default, these are some of the best performing horses in the game, and once you get the level 20 roll variants, they perform better than most of the regular horses that you can buy in the stable. Plus, unlike the Missouri Foxtrotter, the Turkoman, or the Black Arabian for example, there is no level lock with these roll horses, so you can have a really nice horse pretty early into the game as a newer player. And for those of you who are still grinding gold and money for your favorite role in the game, don't worry, because at the end of the video, I'll give you some tips that will help you turn your scrawny nag into an absolute Giga Chad. Kicking things off here at number 5 is the Gypsy Cob, and this is the horse that you get with the naturalist role, and much like the role itself, it's the least exciting of the lot today. I'm not saying it's bad, because none of the 5 roll horses that we're going to be talking about today are bad, it's just the lowest ranked in this category. And to understand why, let's take a look at the stats for a level 20 naturalist Gypsy Cob. First, in the stamina department, it scores an excellent 7 out of 10, and this means that you can keep chasing legendary animals and bounties for hours on end without missing a beat. It's also extremely tanky with 7 out of 10 bars in the health category, so you can get into gunfights and free roam or even tier 3 bounties without worrying too much about your horse's positioning, as it can soak up multiple hits before going into the down state. As for top speed, the Gypsy Cob is rated at a meager 5 out of 10, which means it isn't really ideal for grinders who are trying to cycle through their objectives in the least amount of time. It isn't that much slower than a Turkoman or a Thoroughbred in terms of raw stats for speed, because each increment in their speed bar represents only a very tiny jump in performance, but even that slight difference does tend to add up once we're talking about trips that take 5 or 7 minutes to complete, for example, especially when you're repeating them for hours on end, which is what you typically do while grinding collector items between trader resupplies and bounty hunts. So, what is the Gypsy Cob good at? Well, I think it's a solid cross-country horse due to its hardy nature, and it's more than capable of tackling any gunfights in the free roam. You can also use it to chase down and hunt down wild animals for your daily challenges, and stuff like gang hideouts that usually involve a lot of lead flying in both directions. Next up in number 4, we've got another tank of a horse. The Clad Rubber comes with the trader role, and it's pretty much the same as the Gypsy Cob in every stat category except for one. While the Gypsy Cob has an acceleration of 4 and tops out at 5 points in the speed category, the Clad Rubber inverts this dynamic by having a slightly higher acceleration and a slightly lower top speed. So it scores 4 out of 10 for top speed and 5 out of 10 for acceleration. If you value faster travel time, the Gypsy Cob will come out on top as it has a slightly better top speed, but in terms of acceleration, the Clad Rubber is still going to be superior and just a little bit better at getting you out of tight spots, like when you're surrounded in a gunfight or when you're getting run down by an aggressive predatory animal. In the grand scheme of things, the difference here between these two breeds is minimal at best, and you can't really go wrong with either one. They're both extremely tanky, and they can run for extended durations without needing to slow down. And just like the Gypsy Cob, the Clad Rubber horse has a health stat of 7 out of 10 and a stamina stat of 7 out of 10 as well, meaning you can max out both health and stamina to 10 if you grab the Nakadoch's saddle and the hooded stirrups, which is what I recommend you run on any horse in the game, roll horse or not. Now, should you get the Clad Rubber over the Gypsy Cob? If you only have enough gold to choose between one or the other, I'd go with the Clad Rubber, mainly because of the role it's associated with. Most of you will agree that the trader is more enjoyable than the naturalist, but once you have the trader, you might as well unlock the naturalist anyway, since the two synergize so well together. And remember, any job the Gypsy Cob does, the Clad Rubber can do as well. It's an excellent choice for taking on legendary bounty missions like the Owlhoot family, Philip Carlier, and Tobin Winfield, all 3 of which involve a fair bit of mounted combat depending on how you approach them. But for cross-country travel, I prefer the Gypsy Cob due to the slightly higher top speed. At number 3, we've got the Breton, which is a perfect middle-of-the-road horse that does everything. Much like the Lancaster repeater, it's a jack of all trades, which is why I tend to prefer the Breton over the Clad Rubber or the Gypsy Cob in most situations. First off, it has a speed rating of 6 out of 10, which makes it a much better option for those legendary bounty missions like the Owlhoot family, where you're constantly riding from one place to another on horseback. And on top of that, it also has pretty solid stamina of 7 out of 10, making it just as good for long chases, ensuring that you'll never have to slow down even if you don't hold down the left stick periodically to regain your stamina on your horse. The Breton is slightly less tanky than the Clad Rubber and the Gypsy Cob, with a max HP of 6 out of 10 at Bounty Hunter rank 20 and level 4 bonding, but this absolutely can be compensated for with better positioning. Besides, it's not like your horse is going to drop in a fight just because it has 6 health bars out of 10, because that's still plenty as long as you have a supply of horse medicines at hand. If you're really paranoid about your horse dying in gunfights, keep a bottle or two of Horse Reviver at hand and you'll be just fine. I promise, trust me on that. One area that the Breton suffers in though is the acceleration category, as it's tied with the Gypsy Cob for the slowest accelerating roll horse with just 4 bars out of 10, and this might make it a little bit harder to escape from sticky situations at the last moment when you absolutely need that perfect sudden burst of speed, but that's the trade-off you get for having a horse with excellent speed and endurance. Alright, now we're getting into those premium tier roll horses here. If you've got the collector roll, you can purchase the magnificent Criolo for $950 or just under an hour of grinding item sets for collector. And once you have your Criolo, you can grind the collector roll even harder thanks to the exceptional top speed. With 7 out of 10 bars, the Criolo is one of the fastest horses in the game, and you can max out its speed by choosing the Nacogdoches saddle and the hooded stirrups once again, which is a combo that will take the top speed of this horse to a full 10 out of 10 bars. Acceleration isn't too shabby either, with 5 out of 10 bars, and this can go all the way up to 8 with the aforementioned saddle and stirrup combo, but even with a regular saddle, the Criolo is still plenty fast to take across the map in the blink of an eye, and it's unmatched for chasing down bounties or legendary animals once again. It has a stamina pool of 6 out of 10, which makes it decent at long distance endurance runs, not as good as the Clad Rubber or the Breton, but more than capable if you know how to increase your horse's stamina by once again pressing in that left thumbstick every 20 seconds. The Criolo isn't as tanky as some of the beefier horses you may find in the game, like the Turkoman or the Clad Rubber or the Ardennes or something like that, but it's fast and agile enough to stay out of harm's way. In Red Dead Online, there are 2 ways of being survivable. Either you can have loads of HP and soak up bullets, or you can move fast and turn yourself into a harder target for someone to hit. And the Criolo takes the latter approach, and it's especially good in PvP when paired with Painted Black, as you can land some really nice, accurate hits on enemy players while simultaneously evading their shots on horseback. And finally, at number 1 for the best roll horse in Red Dead Online, we've got the legendary Norfolk Roadster. This thing is an absolute beast, in more ways than one, by the way. First off, it's tied with the Criolo for top speed at 7 points out of 10. Secondly, it has an even better acceleration stat at 6 points out of 10 compared to the Criolo's 5, so not only is the Norfolk Roadster the fastest roll horse in the game, but it's also the best accelerating horse too. And don't think it's some kind of sprinter horse like a race horse that runs out of gas after a few hundred feet, because the Criolo boasts a stamina rating of 6 out of 10, making it more than capable of long distance chases if you manage your stamina well. And this is before any special saddles or stirrups are applied once again. So what is the price you pay for having the 19th century equivalent of a Ferrari? Well, the Norfolk's only downside here is that it isn't very tanky. It has 4 health bars out of 10, which makes it much less than ideal for missions where you're expecting to take loads of incoming gunfire, unlike the Clad Rubber or the Gypsy Cob. But that's fine, because this horse isn't meant to be a tank. It's a multitasker. It's a horse you can use for every content type in the game. This is a grinder's horse because it helps you get the most value out of your time every time you log into Red Dead Online. Think of it as an investment, because with the Norfolk, you can cycle between different roles with ease, hunt legendary animals for trader resupplies, do some daily challenges while Crips is making the goods, maybe cycle through a few legendary bounties and tier 3 infamous bounties along the way, dash across the map real quick for your daily collector grind. The Norfolk Roadster can do it all. Sure, you can also do this stuff with a Breton or Clad Rubber or literally any other horse in the game, but those precious few minutes you save on each cycle will add up over the weeks and months. That's why I love the Norfolk Roadster so much, and I believe every serious Red Dead Online player should have at least one of these in their stable. And besides during legendary bounties, for example, in my own personal experience, despite the Norfolk Roadster's lower health, rarely have I seen it get knocked down in the middle of a gunfight, so it's not like this horse breed is a wet paper bag either that's gonna crumple under the first sign of danger. It's tankier than most give it credit for, while also being a speed king in the game, and if you ask me, it honestly doesn't get any better than this. So there you have it, guys. Every roll horse in this game ranked from worst to best. Do you agree with my rankings? Which roll horse do you like the most in the game? Let me know in the comments below. As for that tip I was talking about earlier at the beginning of this video, here it is. Most people don't know this, but the Nacogdoches saddle also provides a 3-bar boost to both speed and acceleration on top of its stamina drain reduction. Pretty neat, right? So if you have a horse with, let's say, 3 bars in top speed and 4 bars in acceleration, with the Nacogdoches saddle equipped, it will then turn into a 6 speed and 7 acceleration horse. Combine that with the hooded stirrups, not only does this turn a mediocre horse into a racing machine, but it also incredibly reduces the stamina drain rate to the point where you can sprint around the entire map without ever once looking at your horse's stamina bar. And this combo is the absolute most potent saddle and stirrup combo to reduce your stamina drain rate on horses. Anyway, that's all I have for this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more Red Dead Online content like this. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Adios, amigos.